this. The letter, he sent a cease and desist letter to the Cruz camp, and I have some of it here. I like his attorney, by the way. His attorneys are very interesting. So part of it, he was mad over Cruz's attack ad. He was mad over the attack ad was about where he stands on abortion issues and how he had gone out and defended Planned Parenthood like several times. He was defending the funding of it, and he was saying, "Well, you can't say this about me." Well, he didn't say it. He was showing clips of Trump saying it himself. Trump was out there defending Planned Parenthood. I mean, it's a frivolous, ridiculous lawsuit. So he filed this lawsuit. I'm looking at the lawsuit, the cease and desist demand dated February 16th, 2016, regarding your defamatory attack ad. It says, "Dear sirs, I am counsel to Donald J. Trump for President, Incorporated. We recently had the opportunity to view your television commercial entitled Supreme Trust, together with your accompanying statements in the media concerning my client's views, collectively your attack ad, and quite frankly, we are dismayed by the depths the Cruz for President campaign will go in an attempt to materially mislead the public. Simply stated, your attack ad is not only completely disingenuous, but replete with outright lies, false, defamatory, and destructive statements, and downright fabrications. I tell you, there has not been a better tantrum written than what Jane Austen did with Lady Catherine de Bourgh in Pride and Prejudice towards the end of the book when they took a tour out into the garden, ladies and gentlemen. It is worthy of such a comparison. And so, basically, the Cruz camp said, okay, sue me. They're like, okay, I'm your Huckleberry, sue me. You don't like your ad, sue me. It's your ad. It's your own words. Kane, do we still have that audio? Because it's literally his own words. It's literally him saying, well, they still do a lot of good. They do a lot of wonderful things for women. And everyone was like, oh, I'm like, what wonderful things? You mean they only provide crappy services and crappy little facilities and they fight the basic requirements? Why the hell are Republicans fighting over Planned Parenthood? It is not a conservative principle. You are not a conservative if you are defending Planned Parenthood. You are not a conservative if you are defending the public subsidization of Planned Parenthood. You are not a conservative if you are out there attacking people because you think that the American people should be forced to subsidize this group. And you are not a conservative if you're defending it. As I said, I've been doing this I've been protesting progressivism and tyranny since before 2008. I've been blogging on it since 2000. You can chart quite literally online my conversion. And I'll tell you this. I didn't stand on the street corners with signs. And I didn't go door to door. And I didn't phone bank. And I didn't travel to South Carolina and Illinois and Tennessee and Kansas City and go everywhere else on my own dime and my own time. I didn't go and try to raise money for grassroots groups. And I didn't stick my neck out there along with a lot of other people in return for death threats and having people come to my home and having people threaten my kids. And people threaten to boycott my program, and people threaten my advertisers, and people threaten because they fascistically don't like a diverse opinion. I did not do all of that, ladies and gentlemen, for as long as I have done it. To have a Planned Parenthood defending, eminent domain abusing, veteran mocking, single payer supporting, candidate who has switched parties no less than 5 times, who wrote just in his last book that he was for the assault weapons ban. Someone, ladies and gentlemen, who just a couple of years ago said he was against hunting, in his own words. I did not do all of this, and I would imagine a lot of you out there did not do all of this, so we could get to this point in the elections and have that candidate as the front runner. Now, I'll say this. The last I checked, we lived in a free country. And the last I checked, we don't live in Saudi Arabia, and we don't live in Pakistan, and we don't live in places where women must go and obtain in writing the permission of a blood male relative before they can drive or go out in public or express opinion or even just simple dissent. And in this free country in which we live, anybody can run for anything, right? You can say whatever you want. You can believe whatever you want. You can support whomever you want. You can be whatever you want. But there is a glorious, glorious, glorious other side to that freedom. Because see, while all of those individuals have the freedom to go out and do all of those things and say what they want, and I and people like me and people like you, we all have the freedom to disagree. We all have the freedom to call it out. We all have the freedom to stand up and say that's absolute crap. We have the freedom to say, where were you in 2008? Where were you in 2008 when we were having secret phone calls with people we had never met all around the country and just praying and hoping that one of those people on the line wasn't some progressive that was going to write a story and talking points memo? Where were you in 2009 when Janet Napolitano was putting veterans on lists because they were returning from Afghanistan and she felt that they might potentially be possible domestic terrorist or influenced in some way, or perhaps maybe their PTS would cause them to act in a manner that would put at risk the general public? Where were these people in 2010? Where was Donald Trump in 2010 when Nancy Pelosi was walking with John Lewis and they had that gigantic Acme hammer, that Acme gavel, and they were walking through throngs of grassroots patriots, and they had the audacity to impugn the characters of these individuals and say, you're standing out here and you are dissenting with single payer because you're racists. You are out here and you are dissenting with this administration because you are all bigots, because you are all backwood hillbillies that share DNA in one tooth. That's why you are all out here. And I tell you, we had our characters impugned. We had our motives called into question. We had false accusation after false accusation heaped up on us. And I will be hot damned, everybody, if here, all of these years later, all of this time later, after it was signed into effect, after Obamacare became a reality, after you have nuns being forced to provide birth control, after you have grassroots groups persecuted by the FBI and IRS and John Lewis and other members of Congress. After all of this time, I will not tolerate someone who is absent during that fight, someone who was absent during the heaviest days, someone who was absent while MSNBC was cropping out the skin color of gun-toting Tea Partiers who were law-abiding, and they cropped out their skin because, heaven forbid, you show a black man lawfully carrying a gun at a Tea Party protest. Where was this candidate when they had the SWAT team that was sent to Quincy, Illinois, as you had a bunch of elderly people sit out in lawn chairs outside of a rally with a cooler full of Capri Sun, and they had the little hats with the umbrellas on, and the SWAT team stood in front of them? You want to talk about some iconic photography? There it is. I'm not going to be condescended to by any candidate or any supporter that was absent during those heady days. The people who weren't there when Kenneth Gladney was beaten in a parking lot by SEIU members. The people who weren't there when libertarians and conservatives were placed on Missouri's potential domestic terror list by Governor Jay Nixon and the Missouri Highway Patrol and told to watch out for simple symbols such as a military-authorized Gadsden flag. Because, see, when all of this was happening, Trump was saying that he wasn't with the Tea Party. When all of this was happening, he was funding Harry Reid. When the Gang of Eight fight was going down and we were looking at the southern border and we were watching illegal aliens flow into sanctuary cities, he helped create those sanctuary cities because he helped fund the people who passed the legislation to create them. Don't tell me he's against amnesty. I've paid my dues, and so have a lot of other people who are dissenting with how this primary is going. And I'm not going to shut up. And neither are a lot of other people. And I don't worry about burning bridges because I'm the one with the gas and the matches and the lighter. 866-455-9797. We have some of your calls coming up. Oh, and I have even more information. Let's talk Russia, and let's talk business partners, and let's talk mafia, and let's talk all of it, shall we? Our sponsor for this quarter hour of our